Hi, everybody. It's Regina from Solutions 8. I want to talk to you today about all the various factors that might influence how long or how short your learning phase will be when you launch a new ad account. Now, learning phase refers to the initial time period where you're not necessarily running at your at the ROAS goal that you've set for yourself. You are gathering data, you are allowing the algorithm to get its feet underneath it in a foundational way that'll position it for scale later on. And what I mean by that is you don't want to launch and then immediately set a return on ad spend goal, inside of the campaign settings, because the algorithm is going to go, I have no idea how to hit that goal. I'm just not going to spend any money. Right? So you need to run on a more manual bidding strategy for a little bit, sort of allow the algorithm to test all your products. There will be some other campaigns that I would recommend that you run in the beginning that help gather data for the algorithm and help feed that smart shopping campaign to get it to a point where it really knows what it's doing. It's time to start scaling. So there's a number of factors that can affect how long the learning phase will be. I'm going to run through that list. And I've included that list, by the way, in the YouTube description right below this video. So you can read along as I run through each one and explain what they mean. And then after that, I want to show you an account that I have pulled up, two accounts that I have pulled up, one that's been running for 2 months and we're still nowhere near the end of the learning phase, and one that's been running for only a few weeks, and we hit the learning phase we hit the end of the learning phase with about 3 weeks in. And I'll talk about the differences between the two to give an example to what we just learned. So here we go. So the first type of thing that can affect how long the learning phase will take is the state of your ad account when you launch. So if it's a brand new ad account, it has no historical data, that's going to obviously take longer to gather that data. If it has historical data, but the historical data is 6 months old, a year old, all of that is not super helpful for the algorithm, because at that point it's just out of date. Things change. People have purchased already. The people that the algorithm was targeting has purchased, and even maybe the competitive landscape has purchased, the pricing. I mean, so much could have changed even in 6 months. Also, if you have inaccurate historical data, let's say you were running a campaign, but your conversion tracking was counting everyone as a conversion when they viewed a page. Well, that's just going to confuse the algorithm. And now you have to kind of refocus the algorithm, which can actually take even longer than having no conversion data in the first place. All right. So the next type of thing is if you don't run sacrificial campaigns. So a lot of people make the mistake of just running smart shopping. It's really slow for the smart shopping campaign to figure out what it's doing. And so we like to run, we often run some additional campaigns, even though we know they're not going to be as profitable as smart shopping. We'll run, maybe an inbound campaign. We always run the competitor campaign and the brand campaign, even though we might turn those off someday. Usually we don't turn off brand. Let's see, remarketing, all of these campaigns. It's going to help to feed the algorithm some data on what an interested lead looks like and it's also going to literally help feed it leads. If someone's searching for a keyword and visits the store, well, they're going to go back into the remarketing campaign, which, by the way, the smart shopping is also remarketing. So sometimes we have dedicated remarketing and smart shopping remarketing. So that's a mistake that a lot of people make. If you run sacrificial campaigns in the beginning, even though they're running at a loss, it will help your smart shopping campaign get a foundation and get it going faster. All right. So the next category of things would be the state of the industry. So if you operate with a highly competitive industry and the cost per clicks because of that are high and the margins are thin, that will make it slow, right? To get going. Let's say you're only spending $2,000 a month budget and your cost per click is $9 every time someone clicks. You're going to run out of daily budget a lot quicker than if the cost per click is $1. So it's just a matter of how many clicks can you get to the site every day. And then low market demand. I guess this one is referring to, kind of maybe you have a niche product, or maybe it's a new product people aren't really looking for yet, things like that. That can slow it down as well. State of the business itself. If you don't have an existing remarketing audience, right? If your website visitor traffic is low, it's going to take a long time for the remarketing audience to pixel. And if a smart shopping campaign is running without remarketing for a while, it's going to perform at a lower profit ultimately than if it has remarketing, because then it can obviously it can use the same people that it showed ads to yesterday. It can show ads to them today and get that many more conversions. Low ad spend, obviously, if you're spending $1,000 a day, you're going to get less people to the site, less conversions than if you're spending $2,000. Low click-through rate. So if you have an untested website or an out-of-date website, and maybe you're doing everything right in Google, you're sending people to the site, maybe you send 200 people to the site every single day, but if your bounce rate is 70% and people aren't converting, that's just money down the toilet right there. Okay, so the state of your product feed. If you have more products, it will take longer for the algorithm to test those products, to get tested to a point where the algorithm feels like it has patterns, conversion patterns for every product. It's going to take longer. What happens is, let's say you have 4,000 products, and in fact, the example I'm going to show you here, I believe, has about 4,000 products. Yep, 4,000 products. And as you can see, we have 1,111 in the conversions column. 1,111111111. Well, one conversion is all well and good, but maybe that conversion happened 60 days ago, and maybe the algorithm got a 9,000 ROAS, which it did. The algorithm still cannot rely on that data. It needs to get a pattern. So once it has maybe 3 conversions, it can start to get an average going, and it has a higher certainty. Without this, it can get analysis paralysis. And what's happening here is that the budget is, even though we've been running for 2 months, the budget is being divided up. As you can see, $2 here, $1 there, $6 too. We've been running for 2 months, but every product has only been tested with a few dollars. So it's just taking forever to get that data that we need to place our bets on a target ROAS goal. And if you have less products, like this account over here, this account only has 6 products or something. So of course we have patterns on all of them. This one only has 3, but the rest have more, and we can really see the averages over here. That the conversion value divided by cost is not the best, which is another thing we need to focus on next. But it did get us past the initial learning phase where we were able to put a return on ad spend goal, and that has started to encourage the algorithm to go out and get us some higher return on ad spend. And from there, we will just move forward into other creative ways to get the return on ad spend up. Maybe we need to work on the product titles or something. Okay, back to the list. If you don't have GTINs, if you don't have UPCs, so you need GTINs or UPCs in order for Google to have, Google can tap into historical conversion data for that product, even if you don't have any to give it. So, this account, for example, going back to the account with 4,000 products, part of the reason why it's taken forever to get going is these are all unique designs of jewelry created by a large manufacturer. And they are creating their own jewelry. They don't have existing GTINs, global trade identification numbers. We told the client, once we are able to identify the top performers, right, the ones that have high return on ad spend, but also a market that are actually being given impressions, we'll give him that list of about the top 100. And the client is going to go out and buy GTINs and create the GTINs, but the GTINs still won't have existing data. So that just makes it a lot slower. It is good to get those GTINs in there, though, because you can start to gather data and it'll make it faster next year. Or if you start selling these in bulk to another person who's running Google Ads, they can punch the GTIN right in there and get off the ground running for you. So what else? New market creation, a widget no one's heard of. So yeah, not just different designs of jewelry. People are looking for jewelry. I'm talking about new inventions. I recently saw an ad for a tooth. It was a floss pick for your teeth, and it vibrates. So it's supposed to be like a floss, flossing on steroids, flossing that really helps your teeth. No one's looking for that. They're going to have to go with like impulse ads, maybe a discovery campaign where people can see it at the top of their email and just be like, ooh, what's that? Maybe video ads that can just pop up, cheaply and introduce people. But you're going to have to do a lot of educating. So it's going to be an uphill battle for you. That's going to slow you down. Purchasing habits of the target consumer. Okay, large conversion lag. If your industry, for whatever reason, it takes a lot of time between when people are looking at the product and when they actually end up buying the product, then what happens is you might spend money for the click, and the person does not come back through and give you that conversion value for 2 more weeks. And that can be very slow for the algorithm to figure out what it's doing, or even for your ad team to figure out what it's doing. So there's nothing you can do about that. It often happens with higher priced products. People like to, think about it, ask their wife. It often happens if you're doing B2B. People need to think about it, ask their work wife. But it can affect your, low average cart value hinders testing of all channels, right? So if your average cart value is low, then it's just going to be harder to get to that return on ad spend that you want to get to. Not necessarily slow with the optimization, but it makes your goal harder to reach, which does slow down, which does increase how long the learning phase is going to be, right? Because if you didn't get to your goal, you're still in the learning phase. So that's the list. Hope it helped. Some of those things you have control over, and some you just do not. So comb through that list and see what you can do. Otherwise, I would encourage you to just be patient, take lots of deep breaths, and just know that, the more you're able to test those products that haven't been tested yet, the better you're going to be set up in the long term for ultimate world domination. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. Talk soon. Bye.